You're listening to the John and Heidi Show Bonus Hour. If you miss any of the program, you can find the podcast at the bottom of the page at sunnyradio.com.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show Bonus Hour. We've got a guest joining us on the phone here in just a little bit, Chad Corrie. He's an author from Minnesota. He's got a bunch of books out and a few new ones coming out right now. We're going to chat with him because he'll be in Sioux Falls later this month. He'll be doing a book signing at the Barnes & Noble store at 41st and Louise in Sioux Falls. And again, that's coming up later this month. Also, for This Day in Sioux Falls History, sneak preview, it's Joe Foss. It's his birthday today. He's, not with us anymore, but an amazing Sioux Falls resident who did so many amazing things. We're going to talk about some of those during This Day in Sioux Falls History. And coming up later this hour, we have Amy Acker. She is an actress, several movies and TV shows and fun things. She's our Movie Star Monday guest later this hour. Thanks for listening.
What a year. With prices on everything going up, it's more important than ever to have a better credit card. Some people use a credit card that's not a very good one. At bettercreditcards.com, we offer a variety of credit card options to fit your needs. Whether you want a card to give you cash back or points and perks, or a credit card to help you build your credit, we probably have it at bettercreditcards.com. Give yourself a little credit. Bettercreditcards.com. That's bettercreditcards.com.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show. Excited to visit with our guest. Chad Corrie is an author. He's got not one but two books that are coming out here right now. And he's actually from Minnesota, but he's going to be in Sioux Falls. When will you be in Sioux Falls? And you're going to be doing a book signing. Tell us about that.
Basically, it's going to be at the Barnes & Noble. I guess your only Barnes & Noble there in Sioux Falls, actually in South Dakota, on the 29th of April. And that will be from Saturday from 2 to 4.
And you're going to be here specifically for the release of a new book called Shadow Regent. Tell me a little bit about Shadow Regent, and then we'll talk about others in a minute.
Sure. The Shadow Regent is a standalone fantasy book, so it's a great opportunity for people that want to give it a try, see what it's about, kind of step into it, get into it. Basically taking this fantasy world setting that was created for another series called the Wizard King Trilogy to another cosmic level, I guess you can say. We get to see the interaction with the gods and the cosmic things that are going on out there with the scheming and the plotting and stuff that comes after the aftermath of some things that took place in the Wizard King Trilogy. So you got some little cloak and dagger stuff, you got some romance stuff, you got some espionage, a little bit of everything going on, plus a little action adventure. So kind of the perfect mix, like I said, for a nice introductory book for this world setting. It's kind of more like a moderate flavor of fantasy for those that are like, don't really want to get too high fantasy, don't really want to get too low fantasy. It's just kind of a nice, like I said, introductory world spanning type of thing, if that makes any sense.
Absolutely. Now, in addition to this book, you've also got a graphic novel that's coming out. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, graphic novel is called Sons of Ashgard. Ilmet in Elgard is the subtitle. It's going to be a standalone story as well. This is about Viking squirrels. Kind of more like maybe Minnesota flavor, but it fits all over the Midwestern region too. The idea is that this particular story, Eric Redfur is his name. He's exiled from his former community, has to find a new home for himself, and he thinks he's found it, but ultimately he finds himself involved in a bunch of challenges and situations that he kind of finds himself hard-pressed to get out of, and through that process finds some new friends, and maybe has to go find a new life outside of this community once everything is said and done. It's kind of a fun, I guess, animated type of look to the artwork and stuff. The aesthetic is very much like a traditional animated feel. Story is maybe geared toward more of an adult audience, but it's not like anything that, like a PG-13 thing, so it's safe for just about anyone to get into and enjoy.
So this one is about a character, Eric Redfur, the squirrel that's a Viking. Is this based on a true story then?
No, actually, the inspiration came in part from having my parents. They have a window out to the backyard, and they happen, for some reason, they feed a lot of squirrels, I guess. And I just happened to see this huge swath of just squirrels that appeared one day. Had to be at least maybe 13, 20 of them. I'd never seen that many. It was just a huge number moving around. It got me thinking about what would it be like if squirrels actually did kind of, live in these large groups and develop these societies and things like that. It was just kind of fun to add the Viking flavor to it to kind of fit the motif, especially of where I'm from, Minnesota area. I kind of tie that in there. But no, it's a very fun, like I said, something different, something people can enjoy. It has a cartoony aspect to it, like I said, as far as the artwork goes, but it's very, I think, it punched with a good story, and it has a nice kind of redemptive arc to it, because he's kind of kicked out for some things I want to get into, but he finds his redemption in the end, and that kind of leads him on this course to another type of story possibly in the future with his group of compadres.
How many books do you have in total? I'm on your website. It looks like you've got quite a few.
So far, we got the Wizard King trilogy, which came out finished, I should say, in 2021, I think. And then 2022, we had the box set for that, the Wizard King trilogy. And then the new one coming out now in March will be the Shadow Regent. And then we have the new one of the graphic novel, which is Sons of Ashgard. And then I signed a deal recently with Dark Horse Books, who's my publisher. They're the prose imprint of Dark Horse Comics. And they will be doing, I think, 2 books a year now for the next 2 or 3 years. I got a lot more in the pipeline. That's going to be a mixture of young adult stuff, short story collections, graphic novels, and other things. So a lot of fun stuff I can get into later on. But right now I'm kind of focused on, obviously, the Shadow Regent and Sons of Ashgard.
So when you're looking at that, you've got, hey, we've got this opportunity to do this number of books over this many years. Do you have ideas for all of those now? Or how in the world do you come up with the ideas to fulfill that?
Those particular books for that deal have already been written. So those are done. We're actually producing them now, I've seen some cover art. It's really kind of cool. So those have been written. Those are done. I have a lot more written up that have just not been picked up yet because obviously you don't want to flood your publisher like with all these books at once. Some of them aren't the best fit necessarily for this particular publisher. But yeah, I got comic series, I got graphic novels, I got more stories and things I'm working on even now. So it's just trying to keep busy, trying to keep myself focused on the next thing. So I try and get everything written ahead of time before I submit it to a publisher because I don't like what has happened in the past with other authors and things where maybe they start this big series and then they don't end up finishing it or they end up dying sometimes at the end of it, not getting it done. I'd rather have it completed and have it finished. And that way it not only helps me because I know what the story is, it's better to promote it, better to make sure it's actually a good finished story. It helps with the publishing too and the marketing. It's a better process for everyone involved. It's a whole lot less stressful because I'm not having to write things as I'm trying to produce it and edit the previous story and do the marketing for it. It's just a lot more enjoyable, I think, for everybody.
And again, you're going to be in Sioux Falls with the Shadow Regent book tour. What day will you be in Sioux Falls again?
That is going to be April 29th, a Saturday from 2 to 4. And, if you already bought the books previously from the Wizard King trilogy, I will sign those as well, or anything else that has my name on it. I'll certainly sign that, not just Shadow Regent. So come on down. Like to meet you guys, interact, and have some fun that way, too.
Thank you so much for taking the time to chat. I appreciate it a bunch.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it, too.
Again, our guest has been Chad Corrie. He's the author of The Shadow Regent. He'll be in Sioux Falls signing copies of that at Barnes & Noble's. All of the details at Facebook.com/SunnyRadio and Facebook.com/Sioux Falls News.
Did you know you can allocate a percentage of your IRA to physical gold and silver with a tax-free rollover? You can put your IRA back on the gold standard. Genesis Gold IRA is the only IRA that can hold physical precious metals. Call now for your free gold and silver report and learn how to qualify for up to $10,000 in free silver. GenesisGoldIRA.com would like to help protect your IRA today with a simple phone call. Learn more and get the phone number at GenesisGoldIRA.com. That's GenesisGoldIRA.com.
Time now for This Day in Sioux Falls History, brought to you by the Sioux Falls Fun Page and Sunny 93.3. It was on this day, April 17th, 1915, that arguably the most influential citizen of Sioux Falls was born. I don't believe there's ever been a single individual in Sioux Falls history who's accomplished more than Joe Foss. Joe started off life kind of normal, just living in his hometown, a farm kid, going to school, working on the farm, having supper around the family dinner table by candlelight. Before his 18th birthday, his father passed away, and as a teenager, he guided his family through possibly the worst year to own a farm in U.S. history. This was in the 1930s. 5 years after dropping out of high school to run the family farm, Joe Foss went back to Washington High School and then to USD, earning his diploma and a college degree in about 2 years while participating in football, track, and boxing, as well as taking flight lessons and logging hours behind the controls. Joe Foss would join the Marines after college, and wouldn't you know, he became the ace of World War II, downing more enemy fighter aircraft than any other Allied pilot, and winning a Congressional Medal of Honor in the process. Joe Foss left active duty to develop his own flight school and flying service, along with a Packard car dealership back in Sioux Falls. It wouldn't be long before the military came calling again and appointed Joe as a lieutenant colonel in command of the newly established South Dakota Air National Guard, which Foss would literally build from the ground up. Joe would command his squadron while also flying with the American P-51 Mustang Air Demonstration Team, in his spare time. During the Korean War, Foss took over as Director of Operation and Training for Central Air Defense Command, eventually reaching the rank of Brigadier General. Keep in mind, at that time, Joe Foss was only 38 years old. If you'd like to learn more about Joe Foss, and there is so much more to learn, you can find a page at SiouxFallsFunPage.com. This has been This Day in Sioux Falls History, brought to you by SiouxFallsFrontPage.com and Sunny 93.3.
How much do you pay for your cell phone every month? If it's more than $15, it's time for a Mintervention. Mint Mobile makes it affordable and easy to switch. Get a new phone or bring in your current phone. iPhones and Samsung phones both work well with Mint Mobile. At Mintervention.com, you can see the current special offers from Mint Mobile, offering premium wireless for just $15 a month. That's far less than most people are paying, just $15 a month. Learn more now at Mintervention.com. That's Mintervention.com.
Here's your Market Beat Minute for Monday, April 17th, brought to you by GenesisGoldIRA.com. Equity markets rose last week, but bank earnings capped the gains. The banks reported better than expected top and bottom line results due to the rise of interest rates. The news is good for them because they make money when rates are high or low. The bad news is the rest of the economy is paying more for credit and loans, which impacts demand. The inflation data helped lift the market last week, but that lift may be short-lived. Oil prices are rising and will underpin another acceleration of inflation, if not capped soon. Based on the IEA's demand outlook and OPEC production cuts, oil prices will likely move higher in 2023. You can get the inside track from Wall Street's brightest minds delivered directly to your inbox every day at MarketBeatMinute.com.
InsuranceChicken.com wants to know, how much are you paying for your insurance? I know it seems like a hassle to switch to a different company, but if you can save a few bucks, it's worth crossing the road to InsuranceChicken.com. We have several of the top insurance companies trying to earn your business. They do that by offering great insurance that is cheap. Okay, enough of the silly chicken puns. It's time to get serious about saving you money on your insurance at InsuranceChicken.com. That's InsuranceChicken.com.